Hello, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about the understanding of what the unity of mental, physical, and emotional health kind of looks like, uh, in my professional opinion. Uh, this, to me, would be living a sustainable life. Sustainable in the sense of it being balanced mentally, emotionally, and physically, meaning even more the fact that the cost of our actions is not uh, burdensome on either of those systems. So, for a quick example, I guess, um, the physical actions we do won't come at a high emotional mental cost. Therefore, we'd be able to sustain it. Or the mental attitude that we've procured um, does not sacrifice all the things that we actually enjoy to obtain a physical thing. Or the emotional calm that we have uh, is able to be sustained without the draining of our energy. Therefore, the things that we seek after mentally and emotionally, or sorry, mentally and physically, uh, don't drain us when trying to pursue them. This, to me, would be the best representation of the balanced mental, physical, and emotional state. Um, However, there are a few challenges to getting here, I believe, and they all start with a disruption of the um, system that runs our mental, physical, and emotional health. Generally, uh, this is compromised by the fact of us first feeling like we don't have something. This feeling of loss or feeling of not having, generally really reinforced in the teenage to adult life, uh, causes us to pursue things. Pursuing things are great. We generally pursue this lost emotion or lost feeling, essentially. Uh, but in its pursuit, we are generally pursuing it in a very mental thought way of looking at things, and therefore we see it only as certain external accomplishments or or receiving external things. Um, and this way the system becomes more, let's say, backed up, and we have more frustration and stress. Generally, the greatest expression I could think of to put this in a physical way is that you achieve something and it doesn't have the right feeling. Therefore, you either consume more of it or you become stressed and frustrated, knowing that this is not the right action. Um, that should make some sense to some of us. I think also that in the feeling of loss of a thing, we have a hard time perceiving the things that we already have. Uh, Therefore, a good example of this would be somebody suppressing or blocking out an emotion, right? I say that I want to be successful. Successful to me is mentally represented as running a company. Um, Therefore, this mental idea I have, in pursuing it, I must have very little attachment to my family, although I internally love them, but they will feel that I'm not present very much physically or emotionally. I might spend all my time pursuing this thing. This thing, again, is to make myself feel complete. Uh, so I go after it. I become the head of the company. Uh, this doesn't feel quite right. It doesn't have the same values I thought it would have being here. In fact, I realized that I'm actually stressed in this environment, but I can't give up on it now. I've already sacrificed now, I realize, so much time with my family that I owe it to them to at least accomplish this goal, and then I'll be able to relax. This kind of cycle continues. However, the only way to find this emotional feeling is to slow down. This is 100% fact. Um, And in slowing down, we can see that there is a kind of pattern set in motion, and realizing that the whole point of me chasing this accomplishment thing is to be able to provide for my family, or do for those that I care for what I feel I was not done for myself. In installing this restoration to them, I pursue that and lose it in the pursuit. Um, it's interesting. Pursuit of happiness, I guess, right? It's very interesting. So, this being the cycle, we don't particularly have anything to solve for the balancing out of such a passionate drive to fulfill a thing. And in this way, I view that there is lots of confusion when it comes to mental health, emotional health, physical health. I think the questions we should ask is, if our emotions are held in our subconscious and they are expressive of us, they should be in a balanced way. If they are excessive in any way, this means there's some part of us that's most likely not being expressed. And how do we find this thing and allow it expression? I think that'd be a very good question to answer. I think in the mental realm, if my solution to this thing is not ending up in me having the feeling I'm pursuing, could it be that my pursuit is off? Is there more I should be adding to this thought process? Is there things that I'm missing so that I'll be able to more appropriately achieve this thing? Are all these things that I'm pursuing only external, or is there an internal portion? I think this would be a good mental question. Physically, I guess we get an answer more than there is a question. The answer essentially being that my body, more or less, not all the time, but my body is in the state it's in because I'm pursuing some things for some reasons. And this is the physical cost in a visual expression of this pursuit. Now, am I feeling externally good in the way that I am doing this thing? Is my body representing the fact that I am going after this thing in a balanced way? I don't know. Am I feeling healthy? Am I able to accomplish the things that I want in my day? Am I able to interact appropriately with my external environment? Is my balance off? Is my want to be active off? Is my visual appearance off to me? Is my ability to act on things? This is not necessarily physical, but kind of energetically physical. Is my ability to act on the things important to me less than I like? Right? All these things kind of point to that something is off in the mental, physical, and emotional realm of things, and the synergy is not working the way that we'd like. This being true, which I think in most cases is true, how do we solve for these things? Again, we don't particularly have a system. And this is why it's so confusing. This is why we essentially pick something that we have a kind of inclination that's not really working, but it's the best thing we can do, and we do that. This is very interesting. I'd point out cases where people stop doing all the things that they do and receive tons of value in the way that they want it to go. This is relaxing with the person. This is something I think a little bit more about. Ultimately, there is something that we can do about it. I'm not going to leave you guys hanging. I think that in our pursuit of self-care, we find a lot of these balances. Is it perfect? Maybe not. Is it better than what we're doing now? I don't know if it's better, but it's going to fill in a lot of blanks that are missing. And in having this new information, we're able to perceive something more balanced for us. This is a personal environment of health that we would be creating using self-care, and in this way giving more expression to who we are, with all our emotions, with all our thought processes, with all our physicality, but in a way that's rounded. So we are not resisting something and we're not fighting against something, but we are just kind of going with who we are, despite maybe some of these social pressures to be otherwise. All right. Thank you very much for listening. Hopefully this gives you some insight into the self-care perspective in a more say, mentally, emotionally, and physical rounded way. This could only be my hope and my wish. And if so, I'm happy. If not, tell me and I'll keep working at it. Thank you very much for your time.